Hello everyone, Jewel here. I've been sharing some of the best turn-based JRPGs that deserve more attention and recognition. However, the last few videos are not enough to showcase all of them, and that's why we will dive deeper to showcase some of these hidden masterpieces that all of you need to play and experience. Since there are so many turn-based JRPGs that are still hidden beneath the passage of time, this video won't be enough to showcase all of them in one go. So if your favorites are not here, they probably will be featured in the future episode of the series. These games might not be the pinnacle of turn-based JRPGs, but I believe they can still provide a fresh and enjoyable experience, especially for fans of the genre. But before we go into the list, I want to introduce you to the best platform for buying games in this modern era, and it's called Instant Gaming. Instant Gaming is the perfect place for you to shop in games these days. Your transactions are legit, fast, and their supports are ready 24/7, so you don't need to worry about anything. Do you think I was done? Not even close. They have lots of games for your favorite platforms, and they have the best deals as well. Instead of cutting your budget for dinner to buy new games, why not try Instant Gaming and eat healthy as well? All you have to do is just click my link in the description below, start searching for your favorite games, and use the activation code on your chosen platforms. By using my link, you're not only saving tons of money, but also helping me to support this channel. Alright then, let's get back into the list.
I'm going to enjoy this!
Atelier Iris 2 tells a simpler story than your average JRPG epic, and that's one of its strengths. The narrative isn't about saving the multiverse or battling gods. It's about protecting what matters, growing stronger through partnership, and understanding the responsibilities that come with power. Combat in this game is turn-based but brisk, with a timeline-based system reminiscent of Grandia. You can delay enemies, break their turns, and execute flashy team attacks. More importantly, you'll also begin to think like an alchemist. Instead of looting chests for gear upgrades, you will plan what you need and gather materials proactively.
Feeling good!
When you think of the golden era of JRPGs, your mind probably jumps to Final Fantasy VII, Chrono Cross, or Suikoden 2. But before Cloud ever set foot in Midgar, a different RPG quietly galloped onto the original PlayStation, armed with dreams, mysticism, and a six-shooter. Wild Arms launched just months before Final Fantasy VII, and while the latter rewrote the rules of cinematic RPGs, Wild Arms was the quiet trailblazer. It introduced players to a vibrant, heartfelt adventure on the frontier world of Legaia, complete with turn-based battles, environmental puzzles, and one of the most memorable opening themes in RPG history. Released in 2009 in the West, this sequel to Melody of Elemia refined many of the original's alchemy-based mechanics, deepened its character writing, and doubled down on what made the series a cult favorite. Set in the Tower of Metafals, our Tonelico 2 takes place in a world where emotion and language are literal power, where girls known as Revetils sing hymns composed in a magical language to cast spells, heal, or even reshape reality. The most fascinating aspect of our Tonelico 2 lies not in traditional exploration, but in its Cosmosphere system, a surreal visual novel-style dive into a Revetale subconscious. By unlocking new levels of a character's Cosmosphere, you don't just gain new magic or costumes, but also understand them on a psychological and emotional level. In the vast pantheon of Squaresoft's Golden Age RPGs, some games never made it past Japan's shores. Among those buried treasures, one game stands out like a mythical creature lost in time. Bahamut Lagoon was released in 1996 for the Super Famicom. This tactical RPG was a high-concept hybrid of Final Fantasy sensibilities and experimental gameplay. On paper, Bahamut Lagoon is a tactical RPG akin to Fire Emblem or Final Fantasy Tactics, but in practice, it's a fusion of turn-based strategy and traditional JRPG battles. When engaging enemies, the camera zooms into classic Final Fantasy-style battles, complete with spells, limit break-like abilities, and visually stunning 16-bit animations.
In the golden twilight of the PS2 era, Mana Khemia 2 arrived with little fanfare, buried beneath the shadows of bigger names like Persona 4 or Final Fantasy XII. As a direct sequel to Mana Khemia 1, this gem came at a time when the JRPG landscape was beginning to shift away from turn-based traditions, and yet it dared to double down on everything that made JRPGs charming, weird, and heartfelt. Right from the start, Mana Khemia 2 breaks tradition by offering two protagonists, the reserved brooding race Volofor and the bubbly Ulrika Mulberry. This isn't just a cosmetic choice, both roads feature different companions, different storylines, and vastly different tones.
They were too weak.
Vanguard Bandits blends fantasy tropes with science fiction in a way that was rare at the time. Think of it as Fire Emblem crossed with Armored Core, but told through a lens of classic 90s anime drama. You follow Bastion, a brash and hot-headed young warrior, as he's swept into a rebellion against an empire, discovers buried secrets, and pilots one of the most powerful mechs of legend. The story is split across multiple branching paths depending on your choices, with 3 different campaign routes, each featuring different characters, alliances, and endings, including some that completely reframe the narrative. Despite its compelling alternate history setting, hybrid combat system, and haunting post-war aesthetic, Ring of Red was overlooked by most players at the time. Set in an alternate timeline where World War II ended, with Japan divided between Soviet and American forces, Ring of Red imagines a post-war Cold War struggle across the Japanese archipelago, complete with proxy wars, espionage, and political unrest. You play as Masami von Steiner, a half-Japanese, half-German officer tasked with tracking down a dangerous renegade AFW pilot during a period of escalating hostilities. Alongside a small team of specialists, you'll engage in a campaign that spans sabotage missions, AFW duels, and moral dilemmas, all told through a gritty visual novel format with cinematic flair. Released in 1999 for the PlayStation, Koudelka stands as one of the strangest and most misunderstood RPGs of its era. This spiritual precursor to the Shadow Heart series is a bold fusion of survival horror, tactical turn-based combat, and historical occult narrative. For fans of Resident Evil, Vagrant Story, or Parasite Eve, Koudelka is a hidden gem that deserves recognition. However, Koudelka's combat is often divisive. The random encounter rate is high and combat animations are slow, which can interrupt the narrative flow and exploration. That being said, the choice to merge SRPG mechanics into a horror RPG shell was courageous, and it laid the groundwork for the Shadow Heart series to refine and build upon. Though overshadowed by bigger budget peers, Legend of Legaia earned a quiet cult following for doing something bold, taking the turn-based combat formula and infusing it with the timing and strategy of fighting games. Set in a land shrouded by a deadly mist, Legend of Legaia crafts a classic good versus evil tale with a survival twist. What truly sets Legend of Legaia apart, however, is its tactical art system. Instead of selecting generic attack commands, you input directional combos, up to 7 inputs per turn depending on your character's level. Certain combinations will trigger arts, powerful martial art moves that feel incredibly rewarding to discover. Often overlooked in discussions of portable RPGs, Rondo of Swords remains a hidden gem not because it's polished or mainstream friendly, but precisely because it defies expectations, even at the cost of player comfort. It's a game that demands patience, experimentation, and strategic flexibility. And for those willing to meet it on its terms, it delivers one of the most refreshing SRPG experiences of its time. The plot checks the standard boxes of fantasy RPG fare, but where Rondo of Swords shines is in its player-driven branching paths and moral decisions. Dialogue choices and battle outcomes affect the story's trajectory, including which characters join your party, who lives or dies, and which of the multiple endings you'll see.
Darkness, defeat my enemies!
When Beyond the Beyond released on the original PlayStation in 1996, it had one crucial distinction. It was the first traditional Japanese RPG available on Sony's new console in the West. The game was marketed as a spiritual successor to the Shining series on Sega consoles, which the same developer had helped build. Beyond the Beyond feels like a Super Nintendo RPG that accidentally woke up on the PlayStation. At first glance, the turn-based battles are classic 16-bit RPG fare. Select commands, exchange blows, and repeat. But then comes the surprise. Camelot's signature active battle system that would become more refined in the Golden Sun series. During combat, you can perform timed hits. If you press a button at just the right moment when attacking or defending, you'll deal or reduce extra damage. Released for the PlayStation 2 in 2002, Grandia Xtreme seemed designed as a side project, a stripped-down spin-off intended to emphasize the series' legendary battle system rather than narrative depth. Grandia Xtreme features arguably the best turn-based combat system of its generation. It refines the real-time turn order system that Grandia is famous for, where characters and enemies race along a timeline that dictates when actions can be queued and executed. However, the genius lies in the interruption mechanic. Well-timed attacks can delay or even cancel enemy moves entirely, introducing a constant interplay of offense, defense, timing, and manipulation.
Vroom, vroom, vroom!
Developed by South Korean studio Softmax and localized by Atlus, Magna Carta Tears of Blood was an ambitious RPG that aspired to mix Korean fantasy with tactical, timing-based combat and succeeded just enough to earn a loyal cult following. Though often forgotten today, this game remains a hidden gem for fans seeking a unique blend of artistry and challenge in their RPGs. The most polarizing feature of Magna Carta is its chase system, a turn-based, rhythm-infused combat mechanic that blends timing with strategy. Each character draws power from elemental chi in the battlefield, which fluctuates based on location and skill usage. To attack or cast abilities, players must complete a Trinity Circle, a timing-based wheel that determines the potency and success of your actions. Ephemeral Fantasia is a bold, broken yet beautifully bizarre PS2 game that most fans of the genre missed to experience. The overall design might have missed the masterpiece level of game design, but the ambition to merge time loop storytelling, musical gameplay, and turn-based combat into a single, surreal adventure was definitely deserved recognition. Ephemeral Fantasia gives you a real-time progression, and many events or recruitable characters can only be accessed at specific times and places. Your character isn't just a protagonist with a sword, he's a musician, and music plays a key role in both story and gameplay. Periodically, you'll be asked to perform songs via a rhythm minigame on your guitar. These sequences are woven into key story moments and sometimes needed to trigger important events or impress certain NPCs. Septerra Core is a Western-developed RPG that wears its JRPG influences proudly, delivering a turn-based, story-driven adventure with anime-inspired aesthetics, ambitious world-building, and one of the most overlooked combat systems of its time. Though plagued with technical limitations and some dated design, Septerra Core remains one of the greatest unsung PC RPGs. Septerra Core's combat borrows heavily from the active time battle systems seen in Final Fantasy series, but with a clever twist. You can choose to unleash a quick attack with one charge or wait to power up for more devastating abilities at level 2 or 3. This system creates a tempo-based flow where you're constantly weighing risk and reward. Do you chip away quickly at enemies or hold out for a high charge combo that might turn the tide? Before Persona 3 brought social links and school life simulators to the masses, there was a darker, bolder, more subversive game that Atlus initially chose not to release in the West. That game was Persona 2 Innocent Sin, the half-forgotten yet essential installment that dared to blend Jungian psychology, cosmic horror, and high school melodrama into a singular, unforgettable RPG experience. Innocent Sin retains the first-person dungeon exploration and grid-based movement of early Shin Megami Tensei titles, blended with the Persona series' unique fusion of elemental strategy and persona management. While not as sleek or fast-paced as modern Persona entries, the systems in Innocent Sin offer a rich tactical experience for those willing to engage with its slower tempo. Developed by Red Company and published by Atlus, Thousand Arms dared to try something different. It wasn't just another anime-styled RPG, it was a bold, flirtatious fusion of dating sim mechanics, steampunk flair, and traditional RPG structure, wrapped in a highly stylized and irreverently funny package. You play as Maestriumph, a young spirit blacksmith from the city of Boisby, whose cocky exterior hides a surprisingly honorable and earnest soul. Maes must journey to stop the Dark Acolytes, an evil organization bent on using ancient forging techniques to plunge the world into darkness. But he can't do it alone. He needs the emotional energy of romantic bonds with female companions to enhance his forging powers and unlock stronger weapons and abilities. Long before Trails in the Sky defined what modern fans associate with the Legend of Heroes series, there was the Gagharv Trilogy, a deeply emotional, narratively interconnected trio of classic JRPGs that remain largely overlooked in the West. Set in 3 neighboring regions separated by the mysterious massive scar-like rift across the continent, the trilogy tells 3 interwoven stories that span generations, ideologies, and tragedies. While each game has a self-contained narrative, they build upon each other thematically and chronologically, revealing how myths evolve, how history scars people and nations, and how hope threads through even the most painful eras. Nestled quietly in the realm of JRPGs lies Capcom's often overlooked fantasy saga, and among them, Breath of Fire 3 shines brightest as a hidden gem of heart, transformation, and legacy. Released on the original PlayStation and later ported to the PSP, this game balances classic turn-based mechanics with mature storytelling. Unlike many JRPGs that deal in grand apocalyptic stakes from the outset, Breath of Fire 3 starts small and personal. It focuses on character growth over spectacle, especially in its brilliant time skip. As for the gameplay, it doesn't reinvent the wheel mechanically, but it refines its systems with just enough flavor to feel distinct, where you can transform into various dragons by combining genes discovered throughout the world, creating dozens of possible dragon forms that offers player-driven customization. Legaia 2 Duel Saga offered one of the most unique, mechanically satisfying, and thematically sincere RPG experiences of its era. Although overshadowed by flashier releases like Final Fantasy X and Kingdom Hearts, Legaia 2 stands as a game that dared to build on tradition while carving out its own heartfelt identity. Where Legaia 2 truly shine is in its tactical art system, a refined version of its predecessor's combo-based battle mechanic. Each character enters commands by chaining directional inputs like fighting game moves. Matching the right combinations results in powerful arts attacks, many of which are visually satisfying martial arts maneuvers. Legaia 2 also introduces a suite of gameplay features that show a genuine effort to broaden the JRPG formula, like character talents, field skills, and even custom weapon crafting.
Finish it!
Alright boys, I think that's it for today. I know that there are other hidden gem turn-based JRPGs that I haven't mentioned yet, so how about sharing your best hidden gem turn-based JRPGs that probably deserve a spot in the comment section below. Don't forget to like the video and make sure to subscribe to the channel if you don't want to miss another red list. Thank you for watching and have a good day. Peace!
Feeling good!